The wind carried the smell of death that morning. Not from the battlefield this time, but from our own homes. The smoke that rose yesterday in victory now curled from burnt roofs. And I knew, the war wasn't over. We had won the fight, or so we thought. The enemy had fled before sunset, limping and broken. Prince Kofaru stood in front of the villagers, his body covered in dust and blood. His shield was cracked in half, but he still held it high, like a warning to the sky itself. The children came out from hiding, and mothers began to sing again. The sound was weak, but it was hope. For a few hours, we believed peace had returned. That night, we cooked what little yam was left. We sat around the fires, sharing stories of courage. The prince didn't speak much, he only stared into the flames, his eyes distant. I remember him saying, almost to himself, "They'll come back. Hyenas always do. At dawn, it happened." Before the sun fully rose, the drums of warning sounded again, 3 deep beats echoing through the hills. I ran outside and saw shadows moving between the trees. The enemy hadn't gone far. They had regrouped in the forest, waiting for us to drop our guard. Prince Kofaru didn't hesitate. He didn't even wait for his wounds to heal. "To the river," he shouted. "We hold them there." We followed him, barefoot, carrying spears and machetes, farmers turned soldiers once again. I was shaking, but the prince wasn't. When we reached the riverbank, the enemy was already crossing. Their faces were painted black, their chants loud and harsh. The battle began again, this time in the shallow waters of the river. The sound of clashing metal mixed with screams and splashes. I saw Kofaru drive his spear through a man's chest, then pull it out with one hand and block another strike with his shield. Even when blood ran down his face, he didn't stop. He fought like a spirit that couldn't die, but there were too many of them. We started to fall back, step by step. I was right behind the prince when an arrow flew, it hit him in the shoulder. He stumbled but didn't fall. He ripped it out and threw it aside. "Hold the line," he shouted, his voice breaking through the chaos. We pushed forward one last time. I don't remember how long it lasted, minutes, maybe hours. But slowly, the enemy began to break again. They dropped their weapons and ran. We had won. Again the river ran red with blood. Kofaru was kneeling by the water, washing his wounds in silence. I walked closer and saw him looking down at his reflection. "Was it worth it?" I asked. He didn't answer. He only said, "A prince must bleed, or his people will." When we returned to the village, the people cheered. But Kofaru didn't join them. He climbed the hill that overlooked the land and stood there alone, watching the smoke rise in the distance, the same smoke that had once meant safety that night. I couldn't sleep. The wind outside sounded like whispers, voices of the fallen calling out from the dark. I realized then, Kofaru wasn't fighting for victory anymore. He was fighting for survival, ours, and his own sanity. And deep down, I feared something worse than death was coming. Because the prince's eyes, once filled with fire, now carried a shadow I had never seen before. The war had changed him. And none of us knew what he would become next. Don't forget to subscribe.